Gemini.
Hello Gemini, this is your forecast for April of 2014. We have quite the interesting month here this month, and it's going to be a very, I'd like to say, a very social month for you too. Having the Sun and Uranus in your 11th house should bring you about some very interesting new developments within friendships, social networks, organizations, and so forth. Might even just be the birthing of a new conceptual idea in one of these areas that can really come to start off a new trend for you. So pay attention very early on in the month. The first couple of days is when something very brilliant may come to mind. Then we also have the new moon this month. It's going to be in your 12th house. It is in the area where we pull back a little bit. Not necessarily back from the world, but we pull within a little bit more, where we can see we're more connected to that spiritual side of ourselves, which we do need also to feed not just the physical body, but also our spiritual body. Now, the new moon, we only have one area of our chart once a year that we get to power up, right? And this is the area for you. So the new moon intention this month would be all about focusing on how you can stay more connected to your higher self, to your inspiration, your intuition, to your creativity, and also that empathetic side of your nature. So that's where you want to hone in. But the new moon this month isn't before the way at the end of the month, April 29th. So we will have a full moon prior to that. That will be April 15th. And for you, that full moon will be in the 6th house for day-to-day routines and how you work with your co-workers, and perhaps also health and diet. So you might just see how that full moon is going to bring a wave of energy towards you where your focus is going to be exactly on it. And it will help too because Saturn is in this very area for you. And Saturn has been working, not is, but has been and still will be till the end of this year, working on this area so that you could find a stronger, more sound platform, foundation to improve your health and to improve your day-to-day routines. Some of you might have felt that there's been extra weight put upon you in this area, where you might feel a little bit tired, a little exhausted from it because there's been so much. But at the same time, because there's so much, it's really helping you focus right here on your priorities. What is important to keep, right? And what can you just throw aside that isn't really all that important anyway, that you've been dragging along for the longest time, right? So it's really helping you here in this area to find a healthier balance. But we have quite an intense month, Gemini, and I just want to say this month is smack full with a lot of aspects, a lot of different things coming up, choices, decisions, unexpected situations. So I want to take you through these so you can follow me in on how you can prepare for it as well. If you recall the intensity of what took place there at New Year, top of the year, there might have been a few situations and you might have thought, well, I'm beyond that now. You know, that was back in January. Here we are, April. Well, they're coming back around, and in a way where they're all coming in back to back several days in a row. But you're going to have a little good support a couple of days prior to this intense week that you can create a shift, make some conscious choices so it can actually be negotiated so it can balance out for you. Let's just start off top of the month here for you because see, April 1st we have the Sun already asking you, challenging you perhaps on some decision that you've made, as if the universe is asking you, do you really want this? And if you do, are you ready for it? Are you willing to take the consequence of this expansion that you now have been asking for? And yes, it is coming in, and Jupiter, thank God, it is now, you know, moving forward again, so we don't have it in retrograde. So that's good. And so you're kind of like up against, okay, so how do I choose? How do I make this decision? If you don't have your resolve quite here on the 1st, expect it to come in on the 2nd, because that very same sun is going to be conjuncting Uranus, bringing a flash of intuition, knowledge, insight, or how you want to solve whatever this is. And for you, the area will be between your social networks, friends, and also how you make your money. It's your income. This is where Jupiter currently is for you. Thank God Jupiter is moving forward in this area, so you can start seeing that you can expect more money to come in. It's just the universe, top of the month, wanting to make sure if this is the way you want to go. And on April 3rd, well, your communication here is solid. Mercury is how you communicate and who you communicate to. And for you, it will be in the area between your work and your career. So it could be between coworkers and perhaps a supervisor or a boss. This area is going to be highlight for you, and I see you standing your ground of what you feel, perhaps what it is you deserve. So for you, it might be, if you're having any kind of review alongside these days, it would be a good opportunity to do so and to speak what you think you're worth, okay? Because Jupiter is all about expansion. 2nd house for money and income and worth, self-worth, and so forth. It's this area now, it's been like delayed here 4 or 5 months. So Jupiter is wanting to do this and say, you know, I'm worth this much. Now, I know that you're going to power up to actually get the nerve to ask for a raise, because the sun, which is you, might just be challenging where the money's coming from. That's the 8th house, the money you have with others, other people's resources. That could be the company you're working for. They're in this power place here with you, okay? It's like, this is what we want you to do, but this is only what we're going to be paying you. So in that, it's like you're feeling this push-pull, but you're so worth what it is you do here, Gemini, that it is important that you look at this and allow things now to surface, but it's how you express it. And I'm thinking here too, just on the 5th, Venus, love, right? Being in your 9th house is going to be moving out of this 9th house where you've been seeking these higher answers. You've been looking for the high road to climb and expand. It's going to be moving into your 10th house of career on the 5th. Great place for you to have Venus. So you could put more love, more attention, more focus on this area. And on the 7th, we have Mercury also changing signs, ingressing here from Pisces into Aries, and that's going to fuel it up with the element of fire coming out of the 10th house of career. So now you can focus a little bit more how you communicate with groups and friends, of course, but within organizations too. So you can see how your mind is going to be doing more research within groups and how you can expand the very thoughts that you've been working on here in March. Okay, so this is going to be exciting, especially for you, because Mercury, of course, is your ruler, right? So that's where you're aiming. So April is going to be a very expansive month. Now, we also have on the 8th, the Sun and Mars, they're going to go a little head-to-head or toe-to-toe. There's going to be an opposition. So you might be wanting to go one direction with a concept or an idea. And then you might see this other party, this other group, wanting to pull in an opposite direction where their creativity lies. That's Mars. That's your energy, right? It's going through the 5th house of creative, dynamic expansion, wanting to really power up this area. But see, Mars is retrograde, has been from March 1st. So you might not feel that that drive is there like it was earlier on in January, February. March kind of pulled down, but it's lingering in this area and will linger until May 20th, I'm sorry. But it's still in effect. It's still working. So when Mercury and Mars are opposed to each other here on the 8th, it's more like you trying to figure out how can you pull steam from Mars, you know, and still lift this area of self-expression and creativity and so forth. And it might just be something with your children too here on this day. Then we have April 12th, great time for romance. Hey, listen, Gemini, if you're planning anything special, any special date this month, this is the date to do it. Venus is love, it's romance, and Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So you really get like a double whammy thing here where it's like coming together in such a heartfelt and spiritual felt motion. Beautiful day. This is falling together for you also in the 10th house of career. So, you know, take the romantic part out of it and look at Venus more so as far as what it represents for money. Then this day could be a really good day for you to secure perhaps a contract within work, right? So keep that in mind too. Then we have this week, leading up to the very intense week of the 20th onwards, okay? So I'm going to prepare you a little bit what's coming up and how maybe you can balance your scales, because you're going to be feeling it from the 14th. Mercury, communication, Jupiter, expansion, is squaring off on each other, just like it did April 1st. So here we are 2 weeks later, and it's not the Sun squaring off on Jupiter, it's Mercury. So it's going to come back around. You're going to be communicating. Once again, it has to do with money, might have to do with groups or hopes and dreams coming in. And then Mercury on the same day is going to have a very strong intuitive flash of insight, knowledge. It might be a vision too, where Mercury and Uranus are going to be conjunct in this area of the 11th house. So pay attention to the 14th, because it's going to help you, because once you get to the 15th, well, here we're going to have another talk, just like the 14th. Here we go again. Now, not only is Mercury up against Jupiter, which is, you know, rules expansion, generosity, abundance, the happy-go-lucky, optimistic energy, while it's squaring, so it's not flowing. It's being challenged. So you got Jupiter on this one side, and it also rules justice, Jupiter does, in your financial house. And then here comes Mercury being challenged by Pluto on the opposite end, okay? So here we got power and control, Mercury smack in the middle between Jupiter and Pluto, what you feel is fair to you, and this other group, you know, your partner, your spouse. It could be investments, it can be bankers, it could be joint venture projects. These things are standing a little bit opposed to one another, and you're trying to communicate, or they may be trying to communicate with you. Okay, so that's the 15th. Little tension there, and that tension is pouring over into the 16th, where Mercury now is opposing Mars. It's wanting to communicate. You know, on the 8th you had the Sun opposing Mars, but now Mercury is opposing Mars, and it might just leave you feeling very up in the air and wanting to react. But I'd say try to not express that, because it could come around a little fiery. You know, Mars, it's driven by fire, right? And if you're smart and hold back on the 16th, and I know it's so easy, Mars is so impulsive, right, and just wants to, you know, project out this building tension. But I'm saying, if you can hold back, because Venus is just on its way in to support Jupiter, your 2nd house, okay? Venus is love, Venus is also money, it's also self-worth. It's coming into beautiful trine here from your 10th house, your career house, and your financial house. So something's coming in here, and if you can give that love, hope, and faith, then you're easing off what can come out next week, which would be really difficult. And plus, Venus is also sextiling Pluto, okay, from the 8th house. So the very tension that's been building earlier in that week might now come into some kind of agreement, negotiation. And if you can take the high road on that, and I know you're standing your ground for your worth, and see the Sun is moving into Taurus on the 20th. Taurus rules the 2nd house for money. Taurus also rules how we want to protect and embrace those things that we feel is ours. So we're a little bit more bullheaded. So if you have done really good holding back on the 18th, you will get through this coming week, the 20th through the 23rd. Whatever can go off will go off. Now, if you did good, holding your vision, knowing your own worth, then you won't have to go into this little war that's coming on between the planets. Now, the 20th through the 23rd, that Jupiter's sense of self and justification of your worth is squaring off with Uranus. Uranus wants to rebel against something. Jupiter is also going to be opposed to Pluto, wanting to split away from something that hasn't been working. Go back to New Year's Eve, okay, what was going on there. Uranus wants to liberate, free itself from Pluto that has been in control of what you feel is yours. So that's going to rebel. Then we have Mars, your drive, your ambition, you know, your energy is also squaring off on Jupiter, or they may be squaring off on you, because remember, these planets, these energies aren't just for you. It's going on for all of us. You know, the whole planet is going to be feeling this. And then Mars is also being in opposition to Uranus. And Mars is coming from your creativity, you know, and Uranus is out there within the groups. Okay, so it's reacting to it as well. And then Mercury is going to join the crowd, you know, moving out of Aries into to Taurus. So Mercury, your communication, your mindset will also, with the Sun, along with the Sun, want to stand your grounds and be a little bullheaded, non-flexible, standing on your principles. And then Mars, here same day, is going to square it up against Pluto. And when we have Mars and Pluto squaring off, we have a lot of intensity, because it's like that quote-unquote war energy. Now, if we're looking at a global scale, look at what's going on over in Ukraine. You will see exactly, you know, what's going off there between them and Russia and so forth. A lot of this tension. They're wanting to liberate. They're wanting to have their freedom. This is you too in your chart. You're wanting to have freedom to be able to create those things that you know belong to you, so that you can get up and flying and feel free in your job. Because a lot of this, for you, these energies are between your income and whatever residual income coming from royalties or investments. The 8th house, other people's money, not yours, but others. And this can be that tension. And then the 11th house, for whatever it is you're wanting to liberate, in a broader sense, okay, out there with the groups and organizations and so forth. So, and then your creativity here, the 5th house. So this is where these energies are going to be pulling and tugging between you and the people around you. If you can lay low, be smart, be wise, try to not jump in there and be reactive, then you will be better off next month, because then these energies are going to fall away. And just as they have expressed themselves wanting to explode, well, then here comes some solution, okay? Because that Venus is trying to support financially and with love both Jupiter and Pluto. So just think Venus, think what's for the higher good, what feeds the higher good for everybody involved, not just yourself here, but for the overall. That is what's karmically going to be able to lift you up and get you through. And so, you know, a very exciting month, and I think this is one of these months where we're going to be making a whole lot of headway. And we started this earlier on. This isn't the first time around. This is probably the second, third time around. We're going through these very crass aspects. And it's more like finalizing those things that were around New Year. They're back around right now, so we're picking that scab. But you can do this. You are so smart, Gemini. You are so flexible in your own way. So I don't think that you will have that much of a problem as maybe some of the other signs. But to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And of course, a lot of this is also going to be bringing up new opportunities. So don't just look at it as being stuck, but new opportunity. And we're also clearing away a lot of old karma, and we've got to be happy for that, okay? This is why Saturn right now is retrograde, okay? And maybe that Mars is retrograde now is a good thing, so we're not all fired up, because then we could turn in to become very reactive, when everything else is so tense like this. So maybe by holding back our Mars a little bit, go with Venus, supporting these planets. That is the way. That is how we can take it and transform it. That Pluto's all about transformation. It can transform through love. It can transform through hope. It can transform through you having belief in yourself and those that are involved in this. So it takes that higher understanding. And so next month will be very exciting to see. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe now so we have you for next month. But before I let you go listen to your moon and your rising sign and give you a little different insight of what you can expect here this month. Bye now.
Do you follow Karen's daily scopes yet? If not, and wonder what they hold, click the sample link below and listen to both the Astroscope and Tarot Scope and get a feel for what you can expect in your love, career, and financial outlook for today.